All right, Jim Beaver with my brother from another, Matt Martelli, with the Jim Beaver Show and the Off-Road Racer podcast out here at the Rigid booth at Sema, joined with Chloe Yonker, who, a.k.a. Cummins Cowgirl?
Yep, you got
Cummins
it.
Cowgirl? All right. So you strictly Dodge only?
We are very big, heavy Mopar for
Okay.
sure. Dodge, Jeep, Ram, I actually daily drive a Hellcat Challenger 6-speed.
Oh, nice.
So I like my manuals, but we also have tow rigs that are 4th gens, and then I have a custom frame off that will eventually get done, and that's a 2nd gen. So, yeah, we're heavy in the Mopar, but we do a little bit with everything.
Yeah. The sad thing, you mentioned manual. I'm a huge manual transmission fan. It's sad because I feel like manual transmissions need to be saved. Everybody's like, oh, well, you can make these manually shifted automatics, perform better. I'm like, but there's something about the feeling you get, with a clutch and shifting gears. Like, it drives me nuts now that manuals are becoming like a thing
It's a
of the
button.
past.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
it's not the same.
It's funny because, like, in off-road racing, a lot of guys have moved to paddle shifters, right? Which, convenience-wise, right, that's cool. I still like shifting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Makes me feel like I'm in Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Grab a gear, drop a
Totally.
gear. That's why I like having full control over the vehicle that I've got, too.
Well, it's fun. Like, I was looking, I got so many project builds, like, in the back of my mind, but I was looking at, like, a older, like, 10, 15-year-old Lamborghini Gallardo, but they had the manually shifted ones with the automatic, and then they had the ones with the 6-speed. And, like, the 6-speed ones are, like, 20 grand less than the automatic ones. And I'm like,
It's a no-brainer.
that's the one I want.
Exactly. It's a no-brainer.
So, I don't know. It's just weird. But it was, like, some stat, like, less than 2% of cars now are available with a manual in the United States.
Oh, yeah. When I was looking for my Challenger, there was 8 in the United States that I could find. And I was like, oh, my gosh, I did not realize that they're so hard to find now. Because that's the first thing I was looking for was I specifically wanted a manual just because I think it's a cool factor, and I like that a lot. So trying to find that, it was super hard, especially in the Hellcat, because I'm like, you'd think they'd be more readily available, but I guess it's easier to do a burnout in automatic, and I think that might be what it is.
I mean, when you get into performance cars, I feel like even the electronic shifting, I don't really care for.
Yeah.
Like, I want to control it. I want to shift it.
Exactly.
So I'm with you. Yeah. Save the manuals.
Save the manuals.
Save the manuals.
It should be a
For sure.
shirt.
Yeah.
I love it. It needs to be a shirt. I'm on it. I'll get that
So,
started.
so what part of Texas are you in?
We're in Lubbock, Texas, so
Okay.
no one knows where Lubbock is. I just say Texas Tech. That's where Texas Tech is.
Funny thing is, I've heard of Lubbock. I just don't know where it's at.
You're right. So we're like an hour and a half from New Mexico. So
Okay.
we're on the west side because
Okay.
everyone thinks of Dallas, Houston, Austin.
Sure.
They're all on the east side and south side, and we're like way over there in the desert on the west side where there's like cotton and then cotton and dust.
I think that's
like
where they've had some off-road races, desert races out there, right?
Yeah.
What was it? Is it Torah?
Yeah, there's a couple different organizations
Yeah.
out there, and actually, it's one of the things that's high on our priority list to come and race there. Like there's some ranches out there that we can race on that are pretty damn big. So
Oh yeah, we got lots of space. That's one thing Texas has.
yeah,
for
we're
sure.
definitely going to work our way that way.
It'll be fun. Absolutely.
Yeah,
There is some rock crawling, but that's more south.
We heard you guys like trucks in Texas, so
Slightly. Everything's bigger in Texas, especially with the trucks, for sure.
What?
We like big trucks.
It's funny. Like I've spent actually quite a bit of time the last year and a half, 2 years in Texas for various things. And one of them was, I actually was in Houston and then drove up to Dallas and kind of went up the east side, stayed at my buddy Steve Torrance, drag racer's house. But driving around Texas, it's like we see lifted trucks out here, but it's a different type lifted truck. And in Texas, everything's like
Massive.
24-inch wheels are the minimum.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's where you'll see most of the 30s, honestly. Like an 8-inch lift kit is small out there. And that's what we have on our tow rigs. Like we just drive around on 8-inch lift kits for our tow rigs. And that's not considered big because the show trucks are like 20-inch kits that are just massive and they're crazy.
My
Same with
daily
the
driver's
side-by-sides.
daily driver's an 8-inch and my show truck's a 20. Is
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that's pretty much standard, actually. Yeah, that's about right. And then the side-by-sides, because they do, like, the mudding on the east side where all the mud parks are, so the side-by-sides are massive. Like, tractor tires that are, like, 48s.
Oh, yeah.
Like, holy cow.
yeah, we were talking earlier. Like one of our good friends started a high lifter, and so we got to go over to Louisiana and play in his park and spend some time over there.
Oh, gosh,
Yeah, we had a blast. Actually, The funniest part of that was that they have drive-through daiquiri stands there.
What?
Yeah. So not legal to drink and drive still there.
Right.
But you can buy a giant daiquiri, and the way that it stays legal is they have a piece of scotch tape over the top.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is awesome, you know?
That must have been Eskimo Hut, I'm guessing.
I don't remember the name of the place, but Scott was so stoked on showing it to me. He's like, look what we got, right?
yeah.
I'm like, okay, you know.
Yeah.
So funny story in the middle of COVID, like in Parker, where I'm from, it's got all these bars on the river and things like that. So it's kind of, it's full blown party and stuff like that in the summertime. These, boat, you drive your boat up to the bar and stuff like that. So COVID, they shut all these down, and they're open 12 months of the year. These bars, even on the water and stuff like that. So there's one bar called Roadrunners, iconic bar. It's the party place. They've got their signature drinks called a Road Raper. And it's literally, it's deadly because it tastes like fruit juice, but it is literally will kill you.
They'll
Yes.
sneak up on you.
Yeah, and the thing is like everybody drinks one, and they're like, oh, this is great. I want a second. I'm like, don't do that. They stop at one. Well, these things are just pure booze. Well, and they come in this big, huge plastic glass. Well, in the middle of COVID, they found out that like a 44-ounce Thirst Buster lid would fit on the top. So same thing. They actually did drive-through during COVID, so you could get a huge plastic cup with a lid, and it had a piece of scotch tape over the thing. And they're literally giving you a bottle of booze that you can drink in your car, and it's a drive-through. I'm like, how is this legal?
Oh, yeah.
Like what?
Well, back in the day in Michigan, they had drive-through liquor stores, right? Because the weather was so bad outside, you didn't want to get out of your car.
We have them in Parker, dude.
Yeah, it was awesome. You're like, oh, I'll have a fifth of vodka, six-pack, and they're like, here you go. And you're like, oh, this is awesome.
Oh, yeah. A lot of things during COVID didn't make sense, though. Like, let's be real.
Well,
Then it's okay.
yeah, I think half of California moved to Texas, too. So
And
I'm
the other half moved to Arizona, where I'm at. So.
I'm
they
gonna,
just made their way over.
I'm going to pre-apologize because some of those people weren't the best Californians.
Yeah.
And they're going to show up and they're going to be like, hey, you need to change everything. And they're like, yeah, no.
I'm good on that.
Actually, I'm for adopting some of the Texas regulations, especially with gun laws. Right?
Oh, yeah.
We'll trade governors.
Oh, yeah. The amount of people that just open carry just in Lubbock,
Yeah, it's awesome.
it's normal there.
Yeah.
So you're not, it's not.
It's kind of Arizona, too, though. It's like, it's just, it's, I don't know, guns are so, and this goes into a whole thing, and I'm fine going down this rabbit hole, but it's like, in Arizona, it's like my daughter, she's, I had her shooting when she was 3 or 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now, like, guns aren't weird to her, and she's 14.
Right.
It's like, but when you've grown up around them, it's not a big deal. It's like when
Exactly.
it's this taboo thing, that's when it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. No, I mean, we're right in the heart of California, and both me and my brother are working on our concealed carries, and it's just we're around camera equipment all the time. We millions of dollars in gear, and we're always going to sketchy spots, right? So we're like, hey, we were shooting an abandoned. What was that abandoned warehouse with you?
Yeah, well, and then one guy. So I was shooting a film project for a build I did over summer, and they came out, and the guy, it was at an old gravel quarry, and it was at midnight, and the guy goes, just so you know, he goes, there are, like, you may see people start showing up out of the trees and stuff. He goes, because we have these people that live out in the trees and things like that.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. Oh, yeah. No, thank you.
I was like, yeah, it was weird. So,
well, Arizona, Southern California is the best place in the world to be homeless, right? But then you go over to Arizona, and it's the heat and everything, and I'm like, dude, if you're homeless in Arizona,
oh gosh,
you have really screwed up. Number one, number two is like you got to work. You know what I mean? So it creates a pretty odd type of character.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine just cooking out there.
Yeah,
I like dry heat. Don't get me wrong, but 120. Oh, you got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah,
like I don't like working in an air fryer.
Funny, like 110, I'm functional.
Yeah.
When you get to 115, no, it's like there's this weird sweep from 110 to 115.
And you can feel it like 100% in the shop.
You're in
even.
Texas where it's hot, so
yeah,
it's
it's
like
hot.
you understand, but it's like there's this weird like. You wouldn't think 5 degrees would make a difference.
But it does.
Yeah.
It definitely does, especially when you're laying on a creeper and you're just like soaking in sweat. And you're like, geez, I did not even realize how hot it was out.
Does your shop have air conditioning? Nope. See, mine either. It's a big metal building with no air conditioning.
Yep.
115 degrees,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm in there
You're
wrenching.
cooking.
Yeah.
Cooking. Oh, yeah.
Lose a lot of weight in the summer.
Oh, yeah. just like thinned down. You're just chugging water, and half the time you have like, gosh, I haven't gone pee in forever. It's because you sweat it all out.
Yeah.
That's why. It's stupid hot there. It's crazy. But yeah.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
What do you got going here at SEMA?
So here at SEMA, we have the Wrangler that is actually an air design right next door to us here in Rigid. And then we also have 2 trucks outside of South Hall right out front in the TIS Wheels booth. So we have the TRX that has the Lambo doors. That seems to be a big hit here because I guess, oh my gosh, Lambo doors on the TRX. Who would have thought? So that one's been an eye catcher. And then we have the tie-dye Jeep. So the wrap, that's like crazy cool wrap. So
Badass.
that's the little cool things that we brought this year. Next year, we're hopefully going to enter a build into the SEMA Pro Cup Challenge. So we'll have something there for hopefully from Skog & Dickey dealers out of Lubbock. And then we'll have a 24 GMC Sierra 2500 in the TIS booth as well. So aside from client builds, I have no idea what we're going to build for a personal build yet. So
It's like you've already got your 2024
Yeah,
like
24.
builds planned
Kinda
out.
planned,
It's like
yeah.
a year out. It's like
oh yeah,
it's pretty
but that's
crazy.
kind of when you want to start because I'm the only one in my shop. So I own it, I run it, and I'm the only mechanic. So being only one person, I kind of have to start
So
super
all your builds
early.
are 100% you.
Yes.
That's cool.
That's
Yes.
right.
So how did you get into this?
So my background's actually in heavy-duty diesel mechanics. I was a Peterbilt mechanic for 2.5 years right out of college. I have a 4-year degree for agricultural business, which I don't use at all. But I got hired on at Rush Truck Center. So I went there, was actually hired on as a manager intern. And I told them, hey, I want a wrench. And they kind of looked at me like I was crazy. Kept bugging the crap out of them till they're like, let's try you out in the shop. So they threw me in the shop, and then 2.5 years later, I was a level 3 technician, left, started my own shop, got into like the lifted truck scene, and really fell in love with modifying vehicles and making them cool. Kind of like a modern day Pimp My Ride in a way, I guess.
Sure.
And that's kind of how it started.
So where did your original kind of passion for automotive come from? I mean, that's not a normal
Right.
path, especially for a woman, right?
Right.
So where do you think that came from?
So my whole family, my dad's a financial advisor, so I didn't grow up in the shop wrenching with my dad like most people do or think that I did. And when I first fell in love with wrenching was actually going to college because I was gifted our family farm truck out of high school. And I'm originally from Michigan, so there's like no cab corners left and it's rusted all get out. And it would break down all the time, so I had to learn how to fix it because being a broke college kid, I couldn't afford to take it to a shop.
Right.
So I had to fix it in the dorm parking lot a lot of times. So the first thing I ever did was an alternator. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so cool that I can like fix it with my own two hands, and shocked the ever-living crap out of myself because I didn't know I had to take the battery cables off. But that's kind of where it stemmed from, was that. And then I was like, then I did a little bit of other things and little other things. And then it turned into a complete body swap on the vehicle that I did in my parents' pole barn. And that was where it truly started, was that project. Seeing something that was a rust bucket into something with a new body and like a cool truck that I built myself.
Right.
So that's kind of where it stemmed from. And then I went into the big rigs and then went into the custom side, and now I'm here.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Where in Michigan?
Just north of Grand Rapids.
Okay.
So like right here, kind of.
Right.
Was where we were
What's the
from.
name of the town?
Big Rapids.
Big Rapids.
Yes.
Okay. Kalamazoo.
No way. Yeah, that's like 2 hours from us
Yep.
then.
Yep.
My dad has lots of clients in Kalamazoo, so that's like 2 hours from us. That's not far at all.
Yeah, but screw those winters.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh.
I live in San Diego
cold.
now. I'm like such a weather
Oh,
wimp.
yeah. Oh, you're in San Diego?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you're 70 degrees like year
Yeah.
round and beautiful
I
on
was,
the beach.
I was
And
upset that it got down to 60 degrees the other night.
that's us now because I'm used to 110, wrenching in the shop, sweating our butts off. it gets down to like 50, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's freezing. I need to like bundle up and
That's
like
me.
snow
Like I
gear.
love wearing hooded sweatshirts and flannels, and like my cutoff's like 70 degrees. It gets to 69 degrees. I'm like, all right, I can wear a hoodie today.
Yeah.
It's like most people,
Oh,
like
yeah.
anywhere else in the country, are like, yeah, we're still in shorts. and
T-shirts?
t-shirts.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, our business is, out in the desert most of the time, or, we're, in San Diego at our office, and our uniform is flip-flops and shorts.
Yeah,
right?
I live in flip
Oh, yeah.
flops. So
Yeah.
it's. Well, that's when it's 120 out and I'm wrenching in the shop. I'm wrenching with flip flops.
Yeah.
I've literally welded with flip flops on. People are like, that's so horrible. I'm like, it's hot.
Yeah.
I don't think they get how hot it is. Like, especially if you're in FR. Oh my gosh, there's no airflow at all. So you're just like dying underneath there, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, well, and that's it. If I'm bench welding and it's in the summertime, I'm in a t-shirt. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like if I've got to go do overhead welds or whatever, yeah, I'll do it right.
Yeah.
But it's like if I'm just on a bench or something, it's like I can't.
Right.
It's just
It's so hot.
It's too hot.
Absolutely.
So, in your time now building, what's been your favorite build?
Ooh, so far? That's a good question. I'm not really doing a whole lot of like one-offs and stuff like that right now. I have this family farm truck is my personal build that I'm doing a frame off on that I'll eventually get done down the road. That one is probably going to be my favorite once I finally do get it done, but we've had a lot come and go. So I think right now, my favorite is honestly my tow rig. That's the one I spend the most time in.
Yeah.
And it's just on an 8-inch lift kit. That's the one that everyone loves on my social media. And we just finished up my fiance's single cab dually to be like a matching tow rig set to it. So I'm excited to see them together because all of my stuff is whited out and his is all blacked out. So when they come together, I think it'll be really cool to see them together.
Like
But
a yin and yang kind
yes,
of.
yes,
That's cool.
exactly.
That- That's cool. Well, so then you're talking about you're planning out your future builds. You have something even maybe beyond that you're like, okay, I want to do this. Like I got to get to do this build.
We definitely want to do a side-by-side, definitely in the near future, for sure. The one build, like I had said, eventually will get done is that frame off, and that's my family farm truck. That's
what
the
truck is
Rust
that?
to Riches story. So it's a 97 Ram 2500, has a 12 valve in it, 5-speed, because I like my manuals. And so that one has a 16 to 20 inch lift on it, and it's full air ride on carbon shocks. So I'm hopefully wanting to get that done next year, but being a frame off, you're replacing every single component on it. Every bolt, every hole that's left in the frame needs to be welded in. And so there's so much work, and I don't think people really understand how much time and money that goes into these vehicles, especially when you don't have a team of like 10, 15 techs working on it. And that, I think, is the number one inhibitor that I have of being able to do a lot more because I'm only one person. So you talk about being a jack of trades, like I'm literally doing everything. The only thing I'm not doing is like body work yet. I'm doing some of it, but not all of it, and then audio. Everything else I've been doing myself. Like I taught myself how to vinyl wrap so we could do different stuff there. I do all of the lighting, I do all the suspension, and trying to find really good mentors in the industry is kind of hard where I'm at too, because they're either all in East Texas or across the country. So trying to find people that I can call and be like, hey, I need help with this certain like angle of steering or whatever.
Sure.
Sometimes that's hard to find. So trying to be at Sema to make the connections of like, hey, could you help me with XYZ is like the main focus I have when I come here, is like trying to find good mentors and companies that can help us on the backside.
Yeah. It's funny. I see this thing, with people who are creative, but also kind of, I guess, so type A personalities that are obsessive, right?
Yeah.
And one of the guys, Icon Vehicle Dynamics, I don't know, not the shock company, but the guy who builds cars.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen their stuff, but it's, it's amazing. It's like a resto mod, right? But he literally will take a vintage Bronco, fix everything in it, modernize it, so you have the look of a Bronco, and but it it's got all the new brakes,
Air
and
conditioning,
everything,
and you
right?
have all the upgraded electronics.
But it's funny watching them. Once they mastered that, they go on to something else, and the next challenge, and the next challenge, and it's like, I saw recently he's been making watches, and I'm like, dude, like,
What?
you need to chill out. Yeah, but it's badass. It's like you learn something, kind of master it, and then you're like, okay, cool. Let me try upholstery. All right, we got that. All right, what else? What's the next thing and the next thing?
Absolutely.
So it's cool that you're doing that all yourself, because I think that's the other thing to understand. Like, even if as your business grows, you hire people and you don't do it all.
Yeah.
At least you know it. I know.
Yes.
That's one of the things I enjoy with our business is, like, on the media side, everybody goes, oh yeah, they think like, I'm just the director, producer, and the deal maker and all that stuff. I'm like, no, who do you think carried the camera first, right?
Yes.
Who got the shots first, right? We were talking about one of the digital pieces that we made. We did the first 3 Gymkhana films, and I actually shot a bunch of stuff of the first one because we couldn't afford to hire,
all the extra cameramen. Yeah.
So, I enjoy that, and I don't need to do everything, but I want to understand it. It's fun now as an off-road race promoter. We were just having a meeting with a bunch of the OEMs, and we're talking about really technical stuff, and I have a technical director, but I love learning from him because his knowledge base is so huge, and he's like, oh yeah, this has to be this way because the approach angle's wrong or whatever it is, right? So it's a fun process.
Just in social media alone, I feel like you have to wear a lot of different hats because you're creating content, you're editing content, you're posting content, and then you have to keep up with said content. So that's a full-time job in and of
That's
itself.
why I'm going, you're doing all the builds and all your social content. I'm like, is there some point where you hire somebody to help?
I'm exhausted. I have my little sister follow me around with my phone. That is pretty much the epitome of my life. So she loves it. She enjoys it. She doesn't like being in front of the camera. So she's like, I just want to film you do all this stuff. But then I'm still doing everything else. So yeah, she's filming it, but I'm still having to edit, post it, engage with it, know, and then still do all of the builds. So I had started this series called 25 Days of Sema Crunch for the month of October because I'm trying to grow my YouTube because YouTube is a whole other ballgame too. Because you have to get content that's now horizontal, where before it's all been vertical, because you can use that across TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and then you got YouTube, which is a whole other ballgame. So I'm like, okay, we'll just do YouTube on my camera. I have no idea how to use a camera. I turn it on and I press record, and that's about it, because I'm like, I haven't a clue how to do the settings or make it all do the cool things. So it's like a vlog style, and I'm like, I'm hoping that people can watch these videos and understand how much time goes into these things when you're by yourself, because that's exactly what it is. And bringing 3 vehicles this year, it has been a train wreck of trying to just have a normal sleep schedule on top of it, and then I'm also driving them out. So once you're done with them, you still have to drive the 12 hours there. So when we get here, pretty much all we do is like sleep for the first 2 days before SEMA starts.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, the social media side as well, and I don't think people realize, like, they see the end result of it, and they're like, oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
I want to do that.
The
like,
road to there.
Do you really? Yeah. So, but that's cool. But, the advice I'd give you for YouTube in particular is, get a good camera, get a DSLR camera, practice with that. Just mess around with stuff. Like, there's no right and wrong per se. There's good and bad, but just learning from basic photography skills of, like, good composition, good light, focus, and understanding some of that. And the cool thing is everything's on YouTube.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You can ask any question in the world. It's like, how do I build an atomic bomb? That's probably there, right?
Probably.
But definitely, there's a lot of, how-tos on photography and video there that now that knowledge isn't hidden like it used to be.
Right.
So, but just like you, it's like I picked up a camera at, like, I don't even know, like 10 years old maybe, right? And, it wasn't good in the beginning. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And then same thing with cinematography. It's like we started with skateboard films when we were teenagers, and now we're operating on really nice red cameras with lenses that cost more than houses, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like anything else, the evolution. I will say though, like, I've been really impressed with social media's effect on content creativity and cinematography. There's out of all the like bad stuff, there's also some really good stuff out there.
For sure.
So just watching kind of what other people have been able to do, I think is a good way to learn as well.
Absolutely. And drones. That's a whole other ballgame too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We have a kid that shoots drones with us, and he uses the FPV drones to capture some really remarkable stuff. And he's hilarious because you got to wear the goggles, and while he's doing that, he's like cruising around on a one wheel.
I'm
right?
amazed by people who
I can't
can
write-
do
yeah,
that.
it's like-
I can't even do that without anything on my face.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
I'm amazed by that.
Yeah, and there's some amazing shots. It's helped us quite a bit because, we have really fast vehicles, right? So the first evolution of drones were slow and couldn't keep up with the vehicles, but now with FPV drones, that's a game changer. Now I just got to get them to have a 100-mile range, and then I don't have to
Yeah.
pony up for helicopters because those are expensive.
I was going to say, KOH with the helicopters is a sight to see, though. Like, that is the most badass thing I think I've ever seen at any
It's
event.
super
That's
badass.
Super cool.
Until you have to pay for them.
Yeah, I could see that, yeah. Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah, you're like, oh, all right. Do
I'm not to the helicopter level yet.
Do we buy a house? No, we just spend it on heli footage.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's ultimately it's worth it because you get to show people how spectacular the vehicles are, that we race, and you got a little bit of a look at that at the Mint, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we had a little bit at the Mint. I didn't actually get to go out to the race. It was mostly just like watching everything as far as like on Fremont Street with the brands and sponsors and everything. But as far as the Mint goes, I'm excited to come back out. The most I've seen, I think, from racing wise, was probably actually KOH in the rocks because they have all that crazy helicopter content. So being able to slow down the suspension and see how it works on these $120,000 trophy truck suspensions alone,
More like
is like-
1.5 million.
just in their suspension, it's
yeah.
just insane.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to see like everything broken down and how it all works together simultaneously to make these trucks do all of the things that they do is just spectacular.
Yeah, it's. I try and explain it to people, but until you see it firsthand,
Yes.
it's just words, right? When I go, oh yeah, there's 36 inches of wheel travel in a trophy truck.
They're not. Yeah, you don't understand the grasp of
'Cause
that
when it's
until
sitting
you
there,
watch
it looks
it.
like
Exactly.
it's got a graphics, a cool body, but it's like you don't
Right.
understand how everything works.
Yeah. And I think that's the most amazing part of it, honestly. If you can go through whoops at 80 miles an hour and still be intact, I think that's pretty impressive, to say the very least.
Yeah, we got to get you in a trophy truck for a ride.
Yes.
That'd be a cool
Yes.
piece of content
Yeah.
for you.
Absolutely.
As well as it blows your mind because you literally it's so much input that you can't process it all. You just kind of go with it. And then later you get out and you look at it and you're like, holy shit.
just happened?
What did we just do?
Exactly.
Right? And the numbers are really cool because I love putting it into context for people. It's less than 100 trophy trucks have ever been built.
Right.
Right? So more people have been to outer space than have ridden in a trophy truck.
Wow.
Only a few thousand people on the planet have ever been in a trophy truck.
See, when
right?
you put in perspective like that, that is a mind-blowing fact.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I didn't think of it that way. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's badass.
I've only been in Adrian's side-by-side.
Our boy Adrian Oriana.
Yes.
That's that dude. I love him.
He's a hustler.
He's,
Oh, yeah.
he is definitely a hustler.
Yeah.
He'll get down in that side-by-side. We've sent it a couple times.
Oh, no.
I've only flipped in it 3, I think. So I've been on the hood on the lid a couple times with him, but
Yeah.
he sends it. So it's a lot of fun. I mean, that's pretty much the extent of desert racing that I've actually been in. So when you said trophy truck, I'm like, that's a whole other level because I've only ever been in the side-by-sides.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Adrian can drive.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
It helps when you go with an experienced person that can really show you what the vehicle is
Absolutely.
capable of. And whether that's a UTV or a trophy truck, you know, if it's a good driver, like that's the best experience.
Oh, absolutely. And I've told him this too. Where I'm like, I have never actually been in the car with him where I've been scared. Like, because I have a lot of confidence in his abilities. And yeah, we flipped. It's fine, whatever. But you got to be obviously buckled in nice because the safety behind it, those, I think, you're way safer in a side-by-side than you are, say, a four-wheeler. Like, you have an entire cage around you. Like, if I flipped in a car, I feel like I'd be way more scared than flipping in a side-by-side.
I've done it. It was scary.
Oh, I can only imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the safety of the cage is paramount. You know,
Absolutely.
It's like you can have wild, crashes and, you walk away totally fine. So
I like her style. She's like, yeah, we flipped, whatever.
yeah, no, me too.
I'm like,
It makes for great selfies when you're upside down and you're
Adrian, say hey.
and he's like, crap, don't share it. And I'm like, that was the best part.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to show that because, that's real. Right?
Exactly. It's
like,
real life.
Stuff happens. Sometimes you go a little too far over the
Yep.
edge, but then again, the equipment's so good that
Yes.
you got scratches on your car and you're fine.
Oh, yeah. And it's always been when we're doing donuts.
Yeah.
Funny how it always happens when you're doing stuff you're not supposed to be doing technically, and that's when things go south.
Yeah.
It's never when we're hauling ass through whoops or doing anything that he usually does, like sending it up rocks and everything, but no. And then rock crawling, that's a whole other
That's a
whole other ball game.
It's a beast of its own. Like I've started doing a little crawling, and I'm a desert racer, but it's like you're going 3 miles an hour is white
Yes.
knuckle, and I'm
Yes.
like,
Yes.
it's intense.
It's a whole other kind of adrenaline in a way. I got to go out with Synergy Manufacturing. The first time I ever wheeled was at Trail Hero in their JK before they had it switched over to the Miami. And so that was the first time I had ever wheeled in my life. And we were going up a couple different trails over there. And they put me in 4 high. So the first obstacle we had was just a straight up and down. And they're like, okay, you're going to the top, just go down. I'm like, I got this. So we went up and then we went down. And Oliver was riding with me. He's like, okay, you can brake, slow down. Holy cow, we're going to crash. And we just went down and then he put it in 4 low and we were fine after that. The following event we took to, was it Moab? It had been Moab. So I took their full-size Polyram, which is a 6.7 Cummins, also 6-speed. That's their tow rig. I took their tow rig on Hell's Revenge.
Oh gosh.
And I wheeled the shit out of that. That was so much fun. I had an absolute blast. Seeing the little Tacomas come up, and they're like, how did you get that up here? Like, the same trails y'all took? That was a trip. That was a lot of fun. We had a blast in that. But you want to talk about wheelbase. Holy crap. You have to take everything and be mindful of where your drive shaft is sitting so you're not high centering everything. And if you stall it, you're dead in the water, so you don't want to do that. Yeah. That's terrifying, but it's a whole other thing. You go fast, you get an adrenaline rush. You're going, like you said, 3 miles an hour. It's still an adrenaline rush because you have like 60-foot cliffs on the side of you that you're just like, yeah, we don't want to roll. That would be very bad.
No.
So, but it's crazy the amount of things that you can do with these vehicles and how they're built for everything that you do with them. You can have the same vehicle do 7 different things depending on how you build it. So it is really cool.
A very capable vehicle platform.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We've had so much fun in everything. So going from big rigs, because that's where my bread and butter was, to like the lifted show trucks, to off-road with side-by-sides, mudding in side-by-sides, to rock crawling. Like, I'm amazed by everything that people do. And at the end of the day, we all have the same passion because it's all horsepower at the end of the day. So
100%.
it is super cool because we all just like to drink beer and hang out at the end of the day too. So
Yes.
it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
I'm glad we met. I really like her. Well, I think we're going to be friends. We're going to get along fine.
Say less.
Definitely.
You said trophy truck, sign me up. I'm down. Take me through the whoops. I've got good health insurance. We'll be fine.
Oh, you don't need
Life
health
insurance is paid up, so we're good to go. I'll get a chiropractor and speed dial for the
Well,
whiplash.
it's funny because like we've put a lot of people in media and stuff in different rides, And so I'm always setting that up. So, yeah, 100% let's get you in
Say
a truck.
less. When's the mint? April, right?
March.
March.
Yep.
Okay.
We've
I
got
will
our-
clear the
Literally,
calendar.
I think it's literally like a week or two after Lone Star Throwdown.
Oh, perfect. Okay, yeah.
So you can get Lone Star Throwdown
yeah,
done, and then
out of the way.
yeah.
Hop on a plane, go in this trophy truck. Say less.
Done.
I got my helmet ready.
Done.
Awesome. I think that's a good way to end it.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see y'all in
Yeah,
March.
thank you, Chloe.
Thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciated it. It was a pleasure meeting y'all, too.
Yeah, you too. Awesome.
It's been so much fun.
Yeah, I have to give you a follow on Instagram and keep
Oh, yeah.
track of what you're doing.
And I'll go bug Adrian about, hey, I met some cool new friends.
Yeah.
We're going to go in faster trucks than the
Matt and I will get a
side-by-side.
text from Adrian. Well, what the hell?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, man.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so
Well,
much.
Good stuff.
I hope you have a blessed, wonderful week because, man, it's been nice to actually just sit for a second, too.
Yeah.
Holy cannoli. I was like booking it from Central to get over here. I was like,
You got
Oh,
here and you're like
man.
literally catching your breath.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
like, sit down.
Dude,
Oh,
trying
man,
to get
it's
through
bad.
I'm really glad to see the big crowds return.
yes.
But it is a pain in the ass weaving
Oh,
through
man.
everybody. But
The
no, it's good.
lines at just between the Tesla tunnel and the monorail, I'm like,
Yeah.
holy cow. This is probably one of the biggest SEMAs I've been at.
Yeah, their numbers are up, so it's
Yeah.
good. It's good.
Yeah.
We just keep the government to not say anything, and we can all get back to work.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.